software and making good information available, but it's also attitudinal. If there are physical activity breaks throughout the day and the leadership is seen walking around a building or outside a building and it's just a matter of routine, everybody starts to think from the top down, this is how we roll here. Everybody fits physical activity into their daily routine. I don't want to be the oddball, I'm going to do it too. And it starts to be part of the culture. I think there's an enormous opportunity for businesses to engage families more too, because that's also a source of culture. And I think creative businesses should be thinking about how do we also reach the kids so that we start to transform the whole household. But essentially you've got a captive audience. You've got people who spend a lot of their life, a lot of their time with you. The food you make available will influence their diet quality. The way you encourage or discourage physical activity throughout the day will influence the average levels of physical activity people tend to get in a week. The messages you convey will influence people's priorities. And if they respect you, and that's what you want, obviously you want your workforce to respect the leadership at any business, they are going to be inclined to do as you do and do as you say. So there's enormous opportunity, I think, to leverage that leadership and represent the commitment to healthy practices. And then there are all sorts of strategies to make it easier for people to make good choices. And frankly, that's the sort of consulting that Virgin Pulse is so good at providing. But for the most part, corporate America makes bad choices readily available to people, and then people make bad choices. They're discouraged from being physically active, so they have long, grueling days with no physical activity. They have bad food in vending machines, and so they eat bad food. There's soda readily available, and maybe there isn't a water fountain. There certainly isn't cold seltzer, so people drink all the wrong things. All of that's easily fixed. But state-of-the-art wellness programming at businesses is much more than that, and it all begins with a commitment to it, and the understanding that you own a building block of culture, and you can shape it as you see fit, and what you do with it will redound to the health and well-being of your workforce, and their health and well-being, of course, will redound to your bottom line. I routinely say that healthy people have more fun, but healthy people are also more productive on the job.
That's great, thank you. So one of the things we hear a lot about is stress. It's by far, I'm in marketing, I do a lot of the program stuff. By far, in terms of the content we generate and the topics we talk about, stress is like the number one thing. Everyone is, employers recognize that this is a big problem. What would you say there's a relationship between stress and diet, or what's your viewpoint on stress?
It's interesting when you talk about stress and health promotion. There's a bit of a catch-22 because you can get stressed about the need to promote your health, and you're stressed about the need to exercise, and so we need to think holistically. There's no question that psychological stress has major effects on health. Very well studied, absolutely clear. But I think one of the mistakes we tend to make is to think about factors that influence health for good or for bad in their silos. And part of the beauty of a multidisciplinary science advisory board like the one Virgin Pulse has put together is that those silo walls are broken down, and we can interact and we can talk about physical activity and sleep and stress and diet and how these things interrelate. So, for example, I've been involved in holistic care for many years and have done a lot to help my patients alleviate psychological stress. It's really, really important, and for some it's visualization, and some it's yoga and meditation. But I have always thought about me that, if I were meditating, it would stress me out because I'd be thinking, how many emails could I have answered during this time that I'm meditating? Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but managing stress is important for me too, so I have chosen to do it with vigorous physical activity. I'm an equestrian. I love to ride my horse. I love to be out in nature. I love to hike. I love an intense workout. That's my stress reduction. It works very well. And I'm double dipping because I'm also getting exercise. So I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all. I think all of us are more alike than different. We're all subject to stress and the ill effects of stress. It needs to be addressed. But I think there are lots of different ways to address it effectively, and one of the best approaches is to situate stress in the context of all the other factors that influence health. It's difficult not to be stressed if you're sleep deprived, because that actually reduces your psychological resilience and makes you more prone to get stressed with the least provocation. So you have to think about sleep. Physical activity relieves stress, so you have to think about exercise, and round it goes. Diet is part of that mix, and it is perfectly clear that high-quality diets influence levels of neurotransmitters and can translate directly into greater emotional resilience, greater equanimity. So diet can be, to some extent, a direct defense against stress. But I also think it's even more powerfully an indirect effect against a defense against stress, because a healthy diet tends to lead to healthier people, and healthier people have a little bit less to be stressed about. Ill health is stressful. Doctor's visits are stressful. Taking medications and worrying about side effects, stressful. If you don't have diabetes, it's less stressful than if you do. If you don't have coronary disease, if you're not experiencing chest pain, it's less stressful than if you do. Diet is critically involved in all of that. So it's one of the key factors in a comprehensive lifestyle approach to overall good health, where managing stress is an important component,